if someone is in that position where they don't have anything either way to go on,
Hmm.
reason or evidence, um, and then instead of saying I don't know, they kind of just go in a different direction, and maybe they're not harming anyone.
Hmm.
Do you think if they value truth, they should say I don't know instead, or value believing in what is true?
I would say yes, because it's similar to, as I said before, how if, like, even if you know something is true, I feel like there's still something you can
Yeah.
learn from that.
Sheriff lives here in town. I'm from the West Coast.
Okay.
And, we are going out. Pierce, you answer that. I'm just gonna be.
Yeah. So Veronica has been traveling. I haven't been traveling, although I've taken a trip to Eau Claire, and I love going there and talking with the students there.
Mhm.
I've been talking with people at Lambeau Field at least one time.
Yeah.
Not as many people were willing to chat over there for some reason,
Interesting.
but it's been
Interesting.
UWGB must love street epistemology because we have back to back to back to back to
Oh yeah.
conversations.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I see like random little videos of this type of stuff like on my TikTok feed and everything, and I'm
Sure.
like, I feel like that would be so cool to be a part of. Just, like bits and pieces from so many different people. Like that's just
Yeah,
so cool to me.
yeah, it's a fun time.
Yeah.
So you've had a long time. You've talked to a couple people we've already
Yeah.
interviewed. I guess what did they tell you? What did you think of it? What's your thoughts so far?
I mean, there's very different viewpoints on so many different things. And the biggest thing I was talking about with the last girl I was talking to, I didn't even get her name, but why do our decisions affect so, like, why do other people think that what I'm deciding to do or believe, why do they think that affects them so heavily?
You think it's possible that a belief of yours might impact somebody else if you take action based on
Oh.
that belief?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. It's more so. That's a good question. I like that question. I'm trying to think. I have very well, I don't want to say concrete beliefs. I know what I believe specifically. I've
Okay.
spent a lot of time in the last like 2 years just kind of I traveled a lot too. I was living in South Texas for the last year just to kind of get out of my comfort zone and
Oh,
try
very
a
cool.
whole bunch of different things. And it just really helped me grow as a person and solidify what I already thought I believed. Um, I know absolutely that like my decisions affect other people.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
I guess I was thinking more in the aspect of like, why do people get so offended when I simply state that I believe one way? Like, if I were to say I believe in one side of politics and you would be on the other side, why are you getting so offended just because I simply disagree with you? Why is that alone so offensive?
Yeah, I don't think that alone should be offensive.
Right.
I think if you are taking action based on
Yeah.
that belief, maybe
Mhm.
even voting in a certain
Yeah.
way, because of a politician is going to take action on that,
Mhm.
then maybe, perhaps.
Right.
I mean, I don't think you should get angry. I don't think you should
Right. Yeah.
yell at people.
No, I agree.
But I mean, maybe motivated to convince the person that something else is true.
Mhm.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I I'm just not a fan of how polarizing our society is.
It is.
Why are we trying to separate so many different people? Like the whole point of
Left versus right.
yeah, and like even in different religions that are saying, "Oh, you have to believe this way or you're going to hell." Like
Yeah.
um my dad's side of the family is um Roman Lutheran. Nothing against them at all personally, but um one of their core beliefs is that if you don't believe in God the same way that they do, then you're going to be punished for that in the afterlife. So me, having grown up going to a different denomination of a similar church, it was confusing to me how my family could believe that I'm going to hell just because that's how I was raised. Like, I didn't have any sort of choice in what kind of church I was going to when I was 3.
Right.
It's just how I just don't understand why it has to be so polarizing. I feel like the whole point of being a functional society is to work together, like for a common goal.
Okay. To better everyone's
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, to
Okay.
better everybody. And I know that you're not going to win all of the battles. Like, someone's always going to be upset, but why can't we be doing more things to better more groups of people or groups that have been disadvantaged in the past to kind of equalize all of those? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I share that goal.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said you went to Texas. I don't know if you said specifically where. If you did, I don't remember.
That's okay.
But anyways, you said you want to kind of figure stuff out,
Yeah.
figure out what you believe or something.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't my main goal going there. Like, that wasn't my um
Or is it something that happened along the way, maybe?
yeah, kind of. I graduated from a super small high school. There was like 38 other kids in my graduating class. And I'd known like all of those kids since kindergarten.
Right.
So when I got to high school and was like applying for college and everything, I wanted to go somewhere else. I didn't really care where else. I just wanted to do something else, be somewhere else, meet different people. So that's what I did. I moved to the southern tip of Texas in Corpus Christi, and I lived there for a year. And it was very, very different from what I'm used to. But I loved every minute of it. I met so many different people. I did so many different things.
What?
Eas-
Oh, sorry.
no, good. Easily one of the best years of my life. And I mean, I was working on my education at the same time, so that was just really big for me. And I feel like a lot of the growth came from the fact that I was doing it on my own because I don't have any family in Texas or anything. I didn't know anybody
Okay.
there. It was just, I'm gonna go do this and I'm gonna figure it out as I do it. And that's how it ended up. And now I'm back.
With regards to this thing that kind of you were just happened to be working on at the same time, or thinking about. You don't even have to tell me what it is. Maybe it'll be better if you don't tell me what it is. Did you change your mind about it? Did you gain like insights about it?
Not help.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say I changed my mind. It more so developed my own independent beliefs.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of I feel like a lot of what we grow up believing is due to environment and our surroundings. Like, if you grow up in a very small town, you're gonna like it's kind of like you have the blinders on. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
only see what you're exposed to.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of what I see with a lot of kids is that I mean, not so much anymore with my generation. We're kind of like doing our own thing, but
Sure.
the trend generationally is that you kind of believe the same as what your parents did because that's what you grow up hearing.
Right.
Especially with me and like the aspect of religion. Like, I grew up in the church because my mom worked in the church. And so I was like, we went to church every week. I was always in Sunday school. And there are definitely parts of that that I believe in wholeheartedly, but I feel like there's a lot of it that can't be so easily explained. And I'm that's the part of it that I developed on my own. Like once I was removed from my environment and I was able to think more about, okay, well, but how does this relate to me and how does this make me feel and what do I actually think about this instead of just being told, like, this is how it is, this is what.
So it sounds like you may have stopped believing in some of the religious dogma, perhaps?
Parts of it.
Parts of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But other parts of that religion you still believe in, it sounds like?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And I feel like that gets confusing to other people more so because I kind of pick and choose different. I don't want to say pick and choose, but there's parts that I believe in, there's parts that I don't. And then, so like if I would say there's not like one specific group I identify with because I don't want to put myself in the group because I don't believe all of that. And then I feel like that's harder for other people than it is for me because I can't be put in a box.
You want to talk about, I understand, I hear absolutely what
Mhm.
you're saying. Absolutely. Um, would you like to talk more about how we determine what might be true in regards to a religion, whether like a sub-belief of that, like a part of the, what's the right word? Part of the scripture, I guess, part of the reading. How do we determine if part of that is true or false?
That's a really interesting question. I like that. Um, it's a long process.
Okay.
And I feel like you 100% have to bring in other sources. Like you have to consider other things. You can't study any specific religion just by studying the text alone, looking at nothing else.
Okay.
Like for me personally, there are a lot of parts of the actual written Bible that I don't believe in. Like for example, the story of how we were created. Like there's a story of Adam and Eve, and they had two sons, Cain and Abel, and the one killed the other. I don't remember which, but
Fair enough. I get the gist.
yeah. So it was one man and one woman, and then they had one son. How did the rest of the earth get populated if that's how we started? You know what I mean? Like if it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just
Gotcha.
because then theoretically the son would have had to reproduce with the mother, and then that's how we all came to be, and that just doesn't seem right to me.
Okay,
And it's
gotcha.
a similar reasoning with the story of Noah and the ark. Like he took all the animals and his family onto the ark, and everybody else was wiped out and
Right.
died. There are bits and pieces of the Bible that I absolutely hardcore believe in, not necessarily because of what it says directly, but the symbolism behind it.
Oh.
Like, I think it was the story of Abraham with the rainbow, and or
Okay.
maybe it was Noah. Because I think it was at the end of the story of Noah's Ark, after all of the flood rains and everything, there was the rainbow, and God like promised that this is never going to happen again. I'm
Yeah.
always going to take care of you. That I believe. I don't necessarily believe that there's one true God. I believe that there is some higher power. I don't.
Okay. There's a higher power, but not sure
Yeah,
which doctrine might be
right.
true.
Yeah,
which
I don't
religious
have an
text.
exact name for it. Like whether you want to call it the universe or God or fate, or I kind of tie all of them together. It's just
Okay. Well, I guess to me, what I'm hearing, and maybe I'm reading between the lines a little bit too much, but it sounds like you're saying there is this higher power, a loving God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we might not know all the details necessarily, but
Right. But I feel like it's not completely necessary for us to know all the details. Like we're here, and the biggest part of religion in the Bible that I always believed in, I think it was because my mom like preached that one part to us specifically growing up, was that you're God's children and God will always love you. And keeping that in mind with like it's not one God, whether it's the universe or whatever higher power loves us so much that he created us and gave us all of this beautiful
Yeah.
surroundings and existence, um, why aren't we treating each other with the same love?
Hmm.
Like, if something can love you so much that you exist in this incredible way, why are you treating the rest of humanity any differently?
I think I can get behind that sentiment if that is the case. Then I think what you're saying that follows makes sense. Um, I'm wondering though, how could we know, assuming that this higher power exists,
Mhm.
how would we know if it was loving or if it was just kind of created us and it just kind of looked the other way after? And
Yeah, yeah, no, I see what you mean.
yeah,
I feel like that's definitely, I think that's a personal choice in the way that you believe in it. Um, I mean, we're all here. We all are going to spend our lifetime on this earth. So, like, if you would choose to just be like, well, okay, I'm here, like, I feel like you have to make the best of the situation. Like, why, even if whatever did create me didn't create me with love and was just kind of like, okay, whatever,
see
I'm,
you later.
or have fun with that. Um, that I feel like the way I think of it gives life so much more meaning. Why, why would I don't want to say why would I be here if it's not for other people, but I feel like personally other people give me purpose. Like if I'm not,
What does that? Sorry to interrupt,
no,
but I just want to be have clarity of what you're saying. Um, when you say you like need other people, and I understand that. I think human connection is super important. What does that have to do with the higher power? I lost that connection.
oh yeah, sorry. I feel like that's why I was created.
Oh, okay.
And
For other,
yeah,
to
yeah,
interact with other people,
right,
to
yeah,
love
to
people.
help other people and
Gotcha.
to be happy, whether they're making me happy or I'm making them happy, or like to help better their lives or I'm learning from them. Like it's just, I feel like that's why we're all created, is to help each other and like to make each other's lives better. You could go the route of saying, well, okay, we were all just created and we're here, and what's really the point? Like, why do I have to care about what you're doing? Why do I have to help you? You
Yeah.
don't. But I feel like it's so much more meaningful when you do, because that, to me, that says a lot about how you're living your life if you're not actively making decisions that are, first of all, good for you as a person, but also good for the other people around you. And I feel like that goes back to my first thought of why does what I believe or what I'm doing affect other people?
Can someone hold a belief that that has a lot of benefit and gives them a lot of meaning and purpose, and that belief, that thing that they think is true, actually be false?
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
Could that be the case for yourself?
yeah, absolutely. I've thought about that a lot, honestly. Um, there was, I feel like what sparked the whole big personal belief development for me was questioning like, okay, well, what happens if I'm wrong? Like your beliefs don't have to be right. To me, your beliefs are just something to keep you going. Like if I was on my deathbed and I found out through some almighty power that the way I've been living my life was wrong, I wouldn't have lived it any other way. Because I feel like the way
So if you could have a time machine, you wouldn't change anything? Okay.
I feel like it all happens for a very specific reason. And I don't know what that reason is, and I don't really want to know what the reason is.
Okay.
I just want to, I can think I know what the reason is, but I don't need to know for sure.
Um, how much do you value believing things that are true?
I would value it very highly. And I feel like that's a tricky question because a lot of what goes into religion is faith. Like there's not so much like evidence behind it, which I also struggled with for a while. I'm a pre-med student, so my whole life is like science and evidence, this is what we have. And in the aspect of religion, I'm like, well, where's the proof other than the fact that we're here?
Yeah.
And I really questioned that for a long time. I'm like, well, how do you know if it's
Yeah.
true? And you don't. You just choose to believe what feels right for you.
Mm. Should we choose a belief even if we don't know if it's true or false?
Yeah, I would say yes. I feel like you can choose to believe whatever feels right to you. Everybody has their own personal reasons for believing the way that they do.
If we don't know if something is true or false, should we say, I don't know?
Yeah. I feel like I don't know is one of the most powerful phrases that there is, solely from the aspect of saying I don't know, to me at least, means that you have an open mindset. Because if you feel like you have all the answers, what are you gaining? I feel like there's so much power in knowledge and learning new things. There's what what good does it do if you have all the answers?
I'm on board with that.
Mhm.
I agree. One thing I'm a little bit confused about, you said that, you talked about faith.
Mhm.
You talked about kind of choosing what to believe in. And then you said, if we don't know if something's true or false, it's okay. We should probably say, I don't know,
Mhm.
right? I guess that's, to me, it sounds like a contradiction. Like if we don't know if something is true or false, we should say, I don't know.
Mhm.
But then we're gonna choose one anyway and then use faith, or
It's
just lost.
that's the part I'm still trying to grow with. I when people ask me what I believe, the easiest answer for me is to say I don't know. Mostly because I don't know. Like it can change. There is no right or wrong answer. I feel like sometimes it changes on an everyday basis. It's just whatever makes you feel comfortable and at peace.
Okay.
In respect to, as long as you're not doing harm to other people. Of course, like if I would be choosing to believe things about groups of people and choosing to cause harm to them, then that's not a beneficial belief because that's how is harming them doing any benefit to me?
Yeah.
So I feel like as long as you're trying to grow with what you're doing and how you're living and to help, not necessarily, like I don't think helping people has to be one of your main priorities. I feel like personal growth should always be a priority as long as you're not doing harm to others.
Hmm. If someone is in that position where they don't have anything either way to go on,
Mhm.
reason or evidence, um, and then instead of saying I don't know, they kind of just go in a different direction, and maybe they're not harming anyone.
Mhm.
Do you think if they value truth, they should say I don't know instead, or value believing in what is true?
I would say yes because it's similar to, as I said before, how if Like, even if you know something is true, I feel like there's still something you can
Yeah.
learn from that.
Like you might not be 100% confident. Maybe you
Right.
should stick to at least 99% just to
Mhm.
have a little wiggle room. Just
Yeah, because I feel like if you would be like, well, yeah, of course, I know that that's so obvious, you're like, well, yeah, that's how this is. But if you say, well, I don't know, could you explain it to me? Then you might gain something from how that other person sees the same thing that you already thought you knew.
sure.
And then you're learning from them, so you're growing as a person. And then if they would reciprocate it and ask for how you came to know it, then they would be learning from you at the same time. So I feel like it's, as long as you value truth, and I feel like personal truth is different for everybody. There's,
Personal truth is different for everybody.
yeah, that's a newer concept I've come to know through a podcast I've been listening, actually. It's the Holistic Hippie podcast.
Um, personal truth, like something can be true for Veronica over there, and then something contradictory can be true for me. Like,
I feel like personal truth can be a very confusing phrase. I tend to think of personal truth in the sense of beliefs, like what I believe to be true and why I believe we're here and how we came to be. I feel like all of that I feel like personal truth kind of ties together how you are as a person and why you're existing the way that you are. Kind of like all of the steps that brought you to where you are and how you are.
to help me better understand, can I run you through a little thought experiment?
Yeah, of course.
You're probably looking for a chat. All right, we'll finish up in a little bit for you. Okay. If I were to say there are 60 cards right here, and Veronica over there, let's just say Pierce, you're wrong. There's actually only 50 cards here. Is there 50 cards for her and 60 cards for me?
No, there's the one true reality of however many cards there actually are.
Does that same concept apply to everything?
That's an interesting question. I feel like everybody experiences things differently.
Everyone experiences things differently.
Yes.
So
So,
maybe,
so like if you and I are sitting here talking and then all of a sudden there's this absolute downpour of rain. We both experienced the rainstorm at the same time.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation previously.
Yeah.
I could think, oh my gosh, I'm so excited it's finally raining. I get to walk home in the rain. How exciting is that? And you could be thinking, oh my gosh, I hate that it's raining. It ruined all of my tech equipment.
That's all.
It ruined our great conversation.
So like our feelings and our opinions on something objective
Mhm.
can be different,
Yes.
but the reality of what happened is
Yes.
always the same.
There's absolutely, I understand where you're coming from. There's objective truth and then there's personal truth.
This
Ob-
person,
Objective truth being like the physical reality of like that's a tree or there's however many cards there are in that stack. Personal truth differing in the sense of like why I believe I'm here compared to why you believe you're here and how my experiences differ from yours and how those help to develop who I am as a person and how I believe what I do.
okay. I think we can call it or at least I will hand you over the metaphorical question stick, if you want to ask me anything, feel free to.
Yeah, let me think for a second. So, I mean, I kind of explained my whole, well, not my whole, the bigger pieces of what I consider to be my personal truth. And now that I've explained what personal truth is compared to objectivity, what would you say yours is?
Okay. I would use a different word
Okay.
if I was explaining it.
Yeah.
Personal truth, the way you described it to me, I would say that's like more, I would probably substitute the word opinion
Okay.
or personal experience, maybe.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I'm not sure what you're looking for an answer or for a what exactly were you asking? Sorry.
No, you're good. Like, why do you believe we're here? Like, what kind of purpose do we hold, or what do you personally hold as your purpose?
I don't think that I don't think there's a way to find that out necessarily. If there is a purpose, I'm not sure what it is. I can create my own.
Right. Yeah.
In the sense of this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. Right. Is that some purpose in universal?
Right.
Universal? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And if there is some sort of universal purpose, I wouldn't know how to find that out.
Right.
And until I get a method, I'm not going to really take a stance on that. I'm just going to be like, I don't know.
If there would be a way for you to find out, would you want to? Yeah.
Sure. One of the thought experiments is this is a box of truth, and you can ask it any question, and it will only give you truthful answers. I'd ask the box.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Do you feel like we should know the truth about everything?
Should? That's a tricky word. I'm not so sure on should.
No.
Like if there was something that was important to me that that I valued, I would want to know what's true.
Yeah, that's a fair answer. Do you feel like we have a right to know what's true and what's not?
Right. Depends. I don't think there's personal details about people that I should have the right to know about. Like if they watch Barney at night, I don't think I have the right to know that, right? But should we know what our military is doing in other countries? I think that probably is a pretty good right. I think we should know if they invade another country or something. Or
Yeah. That's a good answer. I can't think of anything else I would want to ask.
Cool.
I know I did a lot of talking, but
That's okay. That's okay. That was a great conversation.
yeah.
Give you one of my cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give you a keychain.
Cool. All right.
And yeah. Thanks for the conversation. It was awesome.
Thanks for having your little
I don't know if I caught your name. Did I ever ask you?
Cora.
Cora.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Cora.
Nice to meet you. Pierce.
Yes.
But yeah, you guys gotta keep doing what you're doing. I feel like it really brings people together in a way that you
Fantastic.
wouldn't expect.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.